Hey, how you guys doing? Michael X. So the American T110 Echo 5 heavy tank full review. Been about a year in the making. Not because of any other reason than I used to lose money a lot when I played tier 10s, and only recently have I actually found a way to where I don't actually lose any money, which is to basically play in a certain fashion. And you gotta produce. You gotta do some damage. I want you guys to take a note of the bottom plate on this, which I will say against AP rounds, it's really troll. I mean, it's very hard to hit. But if you shoot it at the lowest point possible, you will pin it. I will say though, if you're shooting heat, pretty much that entire bottom plate can be pinned. And if you guys take a look at this model real quick, you guys will see that right next to the driver that sits in the middle is 2 ammo racks, which basically means you can get ammo racked from pretty much any direction. So first thing we want to cover on this is its horsepower, 875. Forward it can do 37 kilometers, and reverse it can do 12, and of course 20% chance of engine fire. 10-second reload time. Aim time 2 seconds, really good. 720 max range, 15 degrees of elevation, 8 gun depression, which is perfect for any heavy if you ask me. I'd love to have 10 or even 12, but you know, we'll have to wait for the Swedish tanks to come out. 400 meters of view range, 745 radio range, and of course the ammunition is 259 with AP for 400 alpha. The heat round on it is 340 with 400 alpha, and the HE high explosive 60 penetration for 515, which I'm going to go ahead and say doesn't really work on console. The HE doesn't, and I'm going to go ahead and say that's actually a good thing, because HE on PC is absolutely OP. Now you guys just take a look at that lower plate, like I said, and just imagine where those ammo racks are sitting, which I want to give you guys a good picture of. That's where you don't want to give the enemy. Don't give them your bottom plate, although you can, and sometimes you might run into people and they'll bounce the hell out of you, and that's because they're using standard shells. Now here's why. If you guys actually look at it, it actually goes strong to even stronger, and there's only a certain point where it's actually pinnable. And everywhere I'm actually showing you will bounce heat a lot of the times. Only on the lower part of the plate will it actually pin. We're talking below the little yellow square. If you guys take a look at this, it's unpinnable, and I'm going to say it has an amazing turret. Now I am going to go ahead and say that if you guys check out the update, this is the 9.17. It's right before they nerfed the turret. So for right now, this tank's absolutely OP. You guys can see that I'm actually at a slight angle, so it looks like you probably could pin it with heat there, but this is spaced armor. Keep in mind it's a spaced armor plate, so it's much thicker than it looks, and you can see that it goes up to 700 right there. That's crazy. There's actually a couple places that go to 1,000, and I have bounced Death Stars. You can see here that it's going to require something higher. You know, I'm going to say that you can pin it with a chieftain, but very difficult, and RNG has to be on your side. Seriously, RNG has to be on your side. Alright, so side scraping is possible in this tank. I have done it. It works great. I'm going to go ahead and say that because of the humongous tracks, and because the hull is actually a bathtub design, it's kind of round. Yeah, and you can see here that there are places that are just super thick, and you're just not going to get through. It actually explains why I've actually gotten just a track and no pin on this. Excuse me. So while we're looking at the rest of the side armor here, because I mean this is all premium real estate right here, and I'm going to say that if you auto lock this tank, most likely you're going to bounce it, and I'm going to say that you're better off manually aiming when you go around a guy. And I'm going to say the best way to defeat the E5 is to get 2 tanks and to go on either side of them, just like you guys seen in Fury, and make sure that you make every shot count on the side of him. It's the easiest way to do it without using premium shells. There are other ways to do it, which is to outview it. Use binoculars on a light tank, have somebody spot out the target and shoot from long range. Artillery. So we are running a pretty hefty tier 10 room here, as you guys can see. The Eye for an Eye crew together here. This is relatively a good match for all of us, so I thought this would be a really good one. But it also shows, you know, I'm just going to say it shows, it really displays this tank's assets in all of its glory. Which is, I mean, I put Hunter on the side of this for a reason. And it's because I ain't planning on shooting from a distance. I'm going to get in your face with this tank. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take it right up on you. And that's the best way to play this. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that if you get into trouble with another tank, you need to face hug it. Me and Para here are going to do that. That's exactly the plan here, is to go ahead and get in there and brawl with these guys. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that just recently, I've been noticing that people have been taking heavy tanks where medium tanks go, and although the heavy tanks do well, on the other side of the map, anybody that goes that way gets absolutely devastated. It's happened to us a couple times, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that the IS-7 and the E5 work really well together. There's such different types of vehicles, but yet they're so similar. I have a hatch that can be pinned on this with heat. He does not. And there are pinnable places on the top of the turret, but it has to be from a higher location. So just going to go ahead and say that, its lower plate's its only weakness too. And my lower plate is pretty much my weakness. You can get, like I said, the shots on the hatch. Now, I did want to talk about equipment that I prefer on this vehicle and consumables. In this particular game, you guys can see I'm just using a standard track repair to save money, and I'm using just a regular health kit. But I am using a premium fire extinguisher, which I'm going to go ahead and say I never seem to ever need it. I haven't even seen it go off once, but I am going to say I do have prevented maintenance. So going to go ahead and spot this location out. I was kind of shocked. I thought it was going to be like their whole team here, and we were going to get absolutely demolished. But we see that it's actually something that's just as bad. 2 Waffle E100s, which is Waffentrager E100 is absolutely the worst tank. It can actually clip out, one of those could probably clip me out with 5 shots and still have one to put in to the tank next to me. And of course, we're gonna come in here now. As you guys notice, I carry a lot of heat. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys that I play tournament. Now I do use heat. It's part of the game. I do use it, but I'm gonna say that I try to be frugal. I don't use heat a lot. I try to, use standard shells. And you guys can see that what I'm doing here is I'm getting in this guy's face. I'm making it so that if he shoots me, he better hit he's better shoot for my hatch, and he's not. And you guys can see that costs him. It does. It costs him his life. That ram didn't kill him, but my shot did. So that was cool. So I was pretty happy that I only took 1 hit, maybe 2 hits there. I think it was 2 hits, and I'm pretty happy about that. So, talking about equipment, I like ventilation, gun rammer, and enhanced gun laying drive on this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that you can swap out enhanced gun laying drive for wet ammo rack, but it's not going to make a difference. You're going to still get ammo racked. Your ammo rack is still going to get damaged. You also need to be careful when a tank's behind you, because they can actually damage your ammo rack. Now, I want you guys to notice the HE only doing 450 there when it should be doing 515, and that it's just absolutely been nerfed. High explosives all around, to be honest. So some perks I can recommend for you guys for this tank. If you're just starting out, I'm going to say you probably shouldn't put in this tank does need perks. If you want to make long range shots with this thing, you're gonna need perks. You're gonna need I'm gonna say 6 Sense, Brothers in Arms, track repairs, safe stowage, preventive maintenance, smooth ride snapshot, and I'm gonna say you're probably gonna need clutch braking and off-road driving, which will make you super maneuverable. As you guys can see, this tank it's actually pretty maneuverable. I don't actually have, I'm at 80% on, I don't think it's clutch braking. I think it's actually, I'm actually going to look, because I'm not playing this game. We're watching it. I can actually just look at my crew to make sure, to see which perk it is that I actually have. So I'm actually at 80% on my off-road driving, which means I have 80% more maneuverability. So another 20% is going to make a huge difference on my cornering. There's nothing like cruising up on a guy that's just sleeping that can do a potential 1500 damage with a clip. That gives me an opportunity to clip him, not clip him, to track him twice to make him put his slow ass turret towards me and give me enough time to get close to him so he can't pin me. And you guys can see, like I said, I'm going to get in your face with this tank. I'm not going to sit back. I'm not going to give you my lower plate because that is the weakness of this tank. Also, the sides can be weaknesses. And you can see here that he's actually going to sneak by me. And I'm going to go ahead and still give him the cheek of my turret to make sure I bounce that. Some things I can recommend for you guys as well for this tank is... hull down, it's a king, and if you can get it in 8 gun depression, most of the time the hatch will bounce heat. But I'm gonna say I play a lot of tournament stuff, so I carry a lot of heat on me to save me having to switch it back and forth. Seriously, and yeah, but I will say that I find myself in laggy rooms and situations where heat's just absolutely necessary. There's nothing worse than seeing an E100 that's hull down and there's nothing you can do to him, and all he's doing is spamming heat. And I'm going to go ahead and say that although I don't really care, I will use heat whenever I feel I need to. I will say that a lot of people don't believe in that, and I'm going to say that you probably should because it's part of the game. For me, this is more of a game of, you know, resources, right? There are tanks that there are situations that are going to require using, you know, high explosive anti-tank rounds, you know, which is heat, you know. It's why they're on the tank. Now, us having to pay money for them, that actually, you know, pay actual, you know, like 4,800 compared to 1,000 is kind of ridiculous if you ask me. But I'm going to go ahead and say that either way, you know, in the real world, I'm going to say that if you've seen a tank, you'd load a high explosive anti-tank round, and only in the future with the Sabo rounds would you actually see, you know, people switching to Sabo instead of heat, because Sabo can pin pretty much anything, right? I did want to mention too that this tank was never made, and it was a prototype that was never made. It was just a drawing on a paper, and that the hatch on it was a drawing. And I'm going to go ahead and say that if you guys look at the M103, which was the last American heavy tank ever made, even though you guys might be like, well, what about the Abrams? The Abrams is a main battle tank. It's not, it's an MBT, not, you know, a heavy tank. The M103 was the last. And I'm going to go ahead and say, if you guys look at the M103, it has the machine gun on the top without the hatch, which I'm going to say if they ever went into production with this tank, it would not have the hatch on it at all. It would just be a 50, and it'd probably be a hatch very similar to the M103. All right, so I have another game here. It was a Top Gun. I actually was able to get 4 Top Guns in my grind to get up to the Mark of Excellence. And this was one of those games that really just stuck out. And you guys can see that I actually died in this game, but it was a victory. I was actually I got clipped out by somebody in a bat chat. Very, very fun game. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this this review. And if you did, you know, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, if you want to see more like this, please subscribe to my channel and help support me. And of course, I'm going to say, you know, feel free to comment if you guys have experiences with this tank that I missed, or if you'd like to see a tank review in the future. You know, let me know. Anyway, have a good one. Later.